Hello, I'm David from the package team, and today I want to discuss about how to make GitLab MR reviews a bit more efficient. Thanks for being with me today, Rod, Moaz, and Dima. And so let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen here, this one. So we do have some code review guidelines, but I don't want to go over them. I mean, they are documented, so you can just read the documentation. I want to provide additional tips to make MR reviews a bit more efficient. So the whole thing about MR reviews, it's really to see it as a match of ping pong or tennis or, well, whatever sport with a ball and two players. And you really pass the ball between the players. So it will be a match or a round between you and reviewers or you and maintainers. What is super important is marking those moments when you pass the ball, when it's super clear that, okay, I'm done with my part, now it's your turn. You need to make sure that those moments are super clear and explicit so that there is no possible confusion. As a MR author, sometimes I receive like, hey, here is some of my review, like, and then I receive some comments, and okay, is this a complete review? Do you want me to start working on that feedback? Do you want me to wait for the whole feedback? What do I do here? And so it creates some confusion, and with confusion, well, you will need more time to like resync with the reviewer or maintainer. So it's pretty crucial to make sure that when you pass the ball of the MR review, it's pretty clear. How do you do that? It's pretty simple. There are two ways, and I would advise to use the two ways, not one or the other, but the two. So one way is assigning the reviewer field, so that you pass the ball and you assign the team member here in the reviewer field. The other way is to post a comment pinging that reviewer like this. So the comment and the assign reviewer. This way it's clear that you are passing the MR review. And then it will get back to you and so on and so forth. So with that out of our minds, there are several other things you can do to make the MR creation and MR review a bit faster. So the first one is really simple, the branch name. There is a feature in GitLab that is, if you start your branch name by an issue number, when you then create the MR, all the labels will get automatically applied from the issue. So yeah, you will certainly learn, or you already know that, well, juggling with labels, it's not the most like interesting time to spend in GitLab. So the less I do with labels, the better. So usually I will use that all the time. I just take the issue number, start the branch with the issue number, and GitLab will apply the labels automatically for me. And then I will just adjust them if necessary. That's the first thing. The other thing, second one, yeah, something I use in all my MRs, and it's not really mandatory. I will have a context section all the time, no matter how large how large the MR is. If it is a small one, if it is a large one, I don't care. I will have the context. In that context, I will link the issue, and I will provide it's like a summary of the issue, so that reviewers can get, okay, why do we need this change? It's really explaining the why and the whole context around it. One example, I made a change here on workers for file uploads. File uploads are a bit complex at GitLab, so that's okay, fine. I will put the file upload schema or the interactions in the context. You have Mermaid JS available to create those schemas. And so that's what I put, so that reviewers don't need to like upload documentation, see how this works, or pull the workers files and see how this works. It's like, this is the summary of what is doing currently, and this is what this MR wants to enable. And well, from a high point of view, we can see that we are reducing the amount of interactions. It's like arming or giving reviewers, and in this case, it's reviewers or maintainers, with enough knowledge so that they understand all the changes properly. Usually, when you do your first MRs, you will try to reach a domain expert. So in this case, someone with the package registry knowledge. That's fine, but that's not always possible. At some point, you will start be using, where it is, here, DangerBot or Reviewer Roulette. So those are like random suggestions based on capacity. And those members, like, you can consider that they don't have a clue how the package registry works. So any change on the package registry, the context will immensely help, no matter how large the change is. The other thing why this is useful, usually when I work on changes, I discover things or details, or I don't know, like, for example, Maven snapshots, how they are organized, because it's a really specific way to organize packages for Maven snapshots versions. And so I will mentally or write down notes on how these are organized. But then, well, my memory is not that great. And well, paper is not that great too, like it's easy to lose it. So what I do with this context is that I put my notes somewhere digitally, like it's on the MR directly. And this way, they are there forever. I can come back if I need a refresher. Like, let's say, okay, yeah, I'm working on file uploads. Oh yeah, I had this MR about changing file uploads, and I described how file uploads work. Okay, I can just open up and just check this schema. No, actually, not this one. This one, check this one, and oh yeah, they work like this. Yeah, right. So it's a way to like archive my notes digitally. Sometimes no, very often I would say, I even go further. It's not always the case, but if your changes are doing things like things that might be surprising, or things that might trigger a question, I try to anticipate those questions, and I will just directly put a comment on DMR without even assigning reviewers. Like, I don't care. I'm just preparing DMR for review. This is again to give more context, more knowledge to understand what is happening. And well, it's more work because you need to like develop that skill to anticipate questions. But at some point, you will be accurate. Like you will receive reviewers saying, "Oh yeah, this was my question," and you just answer it. Thanks. And by doing that, I'm avoiding one ping pong back, like one ping pong from the reviewer because the question was already answered. Yeah, and if something is really not super clear from the code and MR comment, that could be a flag that you need a code comment, because ultimately the code is what everyone will see. And so that could be also a flag when you comment something really specific in the change, that perhaps you need a code comment so that further you or other team members will be grateful to have that comment to understand what is going on. Now, the other thing I want to mention is it's when you comment on a MR, like you reply to feedback or you do something, you can group all those comments and post them in a single update if you want. This is really useful because they are saved locally in your browser. If I'm not wrong, yeah, that's in your browser, which means that I could like say comment one here, and you start a review. You say this comment is now pending, and for now it has not been posted. So I can go back to the MR. Well, perhaps he will not believe that it has been persisted, but if I open a new tab, we open the MR, my comment is there. It's persisted. So I would comment things, blah, 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 comment 2. You add them to the review and you start stacking all those comments. It's not only on the code side, you can also stack, let's say here, I want to reply this. Comment 3, and you can add to review. The additional thing I do with this, because usually I publish my changes and the CI pipeline is running, and then I will reply to feedback like, yeah, I changed this and blah, blah, blah. I will prepare the ping pong back with quick actions. So you can assign reviewers from here directly. Yeah, let's assign Tima. You save the comment and that's it. This is pending now. So this is prepared while the CI pipeline is running. And once it's green, I can go back here and just hit the submit review. It will just post all the comments, assign Dima as a reviewer, and that's it. I'm done. Like I'm passing the ball. That helps. I know. Well, I saw some members like putting one comment, posting it, putting another comment, posting it, putting another comment, posting it, and this creates some noise in the sense that all the participants that are here will receive one email notification per comment, which is like, it's not wasting time, but it's creating noise, because instead of receiving one email with all the comments so that the reviewer is, the reviewer or the maintainer knows, oh yeah, I need to review this, it will receive like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 emails, and they are not really valuable until the reviewer is properly assigned. Like he receives the ball and he has to do the review. So I would suggest packing all the comments, packing all the changes in the MR in one single review and just pause the review when you are done. This helps in creating less noise and making things a bit more efficient. Another thing, when you assign members for review, you need to be super clear on what aspect you want the review to be on. As you may know, we do have several aspects or layers or whatever you want to call them on GitLab MRs. Usually they are detected by a danger bot, and it's this thing category. So in this case, I had a backend change and a workhorse change. Okay, so it's like having two tracks of reviews, but that doesn't mean that you can do both of them at the same time. So when you assign members as reviewers, make sure that it's super explicit what aspect you want to review, you want them to review. It's not that obvious here because backend and workhorse, they are like highly different code base. But you could have backend and database, and we have members that are reviewer for backend and reviewer for database. And so if you tell them, hey, can you review this? Like, this is not super explicit, and they don't know if they need to check the MR for a database review or a backend review. It's better to be explicit. Yeah, and that's about the things I do on MRs. But yeah, really the core is the context section. Yeah, I know it seems that it's more work, and that's true. It's more work. Like instead of saying, "Hey, check this issue," I'm like presenting the problem in the issue on as a summary. But the amount of time that I spend doing those or writing those context section, I'm pretty sure that it's nothing compared to the amount of ping pongs and feedback I saved, which means because your reviewer can be in a different time zone, like you could be waiting for a full day to get a review. So if I save that ping pong, I save one full day, and that's a lot of time. So that's why I will always write those context section all the time, no matter the situation. If it is a security fix, production incident fix, or something urgent, I will always take time to write those context sections. What else can help? Yeah, that's a section we have, how to set up and validate locally. As a backend maintainer, no matter which MR I'm looking at, I will always test the MR locally to make sure that it's working the way it is intended. So those instructions really help a lot. You will see in the package registry, you don't have always all the commands or all the package manager commands in mind. So it really helps to have them written, and then not only for the reviewers or maintainers, but also for yourself. Let's say that now this has been merged, deployed to, let's say, staging, which is here. Now I need to go to staging and verify this MR. Well, what will I do? Well, usually I will just check the instructions I just wrote and just follow the plan I just left. So those instructions, in my eyes, they have like a double value. It's for reviewers that are interested in testing this. it's like a triple value. It's for maintainers, because, well, in my mind, backend maintainers should test changes locally, well, when possible, unless there is some exception. And third, it's also for yourself when you want to verify this on staging or production, because at some point you will be juggling with many MRs. So you are working on MR1, then you push that into review, and you are working on MR2. MR1, you get some feedback, you go back, and then you go back to MR2, and then suddenly MR1 is merged. You're still working on MR2, MR1 is deployed, and now you need to verify MR1, but your mind is on MR2. So like switching to MR1 and finding those instructions on how to verify this can take time. And what you have in this section is my shortcut. Like, I don't need to think about, it's just I follow the instructions and check the behavior on staging or production, depends on the change. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The bottom line is, yeah, it's more work. You're presenting more data, more information in DMR, but in the long run, it really helps you to get faster reviews. I really saw a change when I started doing those context sections. As a backend maintainer, it's also like sometimes I would receive an MR, and like the explanation is really like, check this issue. Okay, so I will open the issue, but on the issue there is a discussion between the engineer, the product manager, and so I need to collect all the information to know, okay, what is needed here, what we want to do, and you need to like gather all the discussions, and this is time that I need to invest so that I can provide a good review on that MR. That's what I want, what I try to avoid with those context sections. Like, everything is packed in DMR. You don't need to open an issue. Like, everything is explained there, and it's you have all the marbles to understand what is going on here. Yeah, I think that's it. Talk about quick actions. Yeah, I think I don't have anything else. Do you have any questions? So either everything was clear or everything was not clear at all. Which one it is?
Yeah, it's clear. I have like one question. I think I read about review apps that should be ready when we push a merge request. So I'm not sure if there is some deployed version of our code in a standalone application that we can verify our changes on or not.
Yeah, there is one. I think it's a manual. Let me check. It's a manual job in the pipeline. So you open the pipeline. Yeah, and towards the end of the pipeline, there is this one, start review app pipeline. And this one will start the review app. And then once it is started, you will have a link somewhere. I don't recall correctly. I think it might be just below the pipeline status. You will have a link on, hey, this has been deployed on this review app.
Okay, so it's a manual job. We should start it manually to deploy that review app.
Yeah, I would say that I only use those jobs, and I think they are automatic for those MRs. if I have documentation changes. Because documentation, it's one thing working with the markdown file, and it's another thing to see it within the GitLab documentation template. You see, we have side menus, we have some, I don't know if there is, yeah, some like, we can mark some sections with a specific marking so that, hey, this is a note, or this is a warning, this is an information, and you might want to check those changes. What is the actual result? For backend changes, no, I will not verify them in the review app, because I will verify them on staging directly. I'm not sure how the review app is set up, if there is some data. But since, like, if you check, I would check very thoroughly the change locally. And so if that change is working locally, with the amount of testing that I do locally, it's like I have a high confidence that it will be the same on staging. If it's not the same on staging, that means that data is having an impact on behavior, meaning that the data on staging is somehow changing the change behavior, which could be an edge case or something. But usually, yeah, for backend changes, I will not use the review app.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, maybe another question.
Yep.
How much should I wait till, for example, I remind a reviewer that I still waiting for his review?
So we do have an SLO for this, and I think it's on this page. No. Yeah, I know that it's somewhere, but it's not here. If I'm not wrong, I think it's 2 or 3 days. So I always wait 3 days to ping a reviewer. The other thing is that I will never ping someone on Slack directly unless it's an exceptional situation. But otherwise, I will not ping a team member on Slack directly for an MR. I will just ping on the MR directly with a comment like, "Hey, just making sure that this is on your radar," or something. What could happen? Well, and it happens. Members will forget about their PTO, and so when Dangerbot runs, it will check the GitLab status, which is the one you can set here, like edit status. And so there are some things, I think it's in the code review. I just saw the icons. Yeah, that's the one. So if you are on a PTO, you should have a string like PTO or OOO or the palm tree emoji, so that Danger knows that you are not available. But well, members will forget about that. And so that could happen, that yeah, like, for example, I might ping this member, and actually this member is on PTO, so he will like never reply back. So I will ping back after 3 days, and on the 4th day, I will check with other means to see if he's on PTO or not. On Slack, there is like the tool we use to input our PTOs, you can also ask or search for a team member and check that team member PTO's entries so that you know if that member is on a PTO or not. And usually that tool will also update the Slack status of that member. So just checking Slack might give you a hint of a member being on PTO. Yeah, that happened and will happen because, well, sometimes you like go on PTO and forget about setting up your GitLab status and everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, then. Well, I guess we can stop here. And well, thanks everyone for attending, and thanks for those watching the recording until the end. And well, see you on the next one. Bye.